I give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which in Hebrew are the wonderful names of the Creator, our Heavenly Father, I Am, which this world has named God, and His beloved anointed Son, which this world has named Jesus. I give honor, respect, and thanks to all the true, faithful, and sincere apostles, elders, prophets, and torchbearers of the nation of Israel, who have willingly endured and risked much to bring forth the truth. Thank you, brothers. In this chapter, we are continuing the conversation of time of the fourth horseman. This, as always, is a message to our brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, the mighty nation of Israel being the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latins, Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans. The first scripture we're going to in this chapter is the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 7. The Book of Wisdom of Solomon can be found in the Apocrypha, which is the middle book of the King James 1611 Bible. Wherefore I prayed, and understanding was given me. I called upon the Most High Power, and the spirit of wisdom came to me. This is what we need to do in these last of the last days. We need to really pray for wisdom, that our eyes and ears may be opened by the Father to understand where we are in the timeline, where we are in terms of literally being in the last of our last captivity, and what the prophecies say shall and must occur, and to remember who is in control. The book of the prophet Daniel, chapter 2, verse 20. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High Power forever and ever, for wisdom and might are His. And He, Yahweh the Most High Power, the Creator of heaven and earth, the Creator of all things, the Creator and Destroyer, and He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. So just a reminder that the Father is in control of all things, and He changes things. His will is occurring. And to be able to truly embrace this and comprehend it, we must pray for wisdom. Verse 22, He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with Him. So the Father knows what's in the heart of all things. But the light of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, discernment, they are with the Father. And He will bless whom He chooses with wisdom. But we, as His sons and daughters, those of us of the nation of Israel, who turn back to the Father through the Son, we must pray for this wisdom in earnestness, in truth, and in sincerity. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So a time for all things, everything in its season. So in the last two chapters, we discussed the first, the second, and the third horsemen of the apocalypse. Here's what the apocalypse means, by the way. So let us move on to the time of the fourth horseman. The book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. So real quick, let's look at pale. So it's chloros. And if we look here at the Strong's definition, from the same as G5514, a greenish, i.e. verdant, dun-colored green pale. So in the spirit, let's look at the dun-colored. There wasn't much on this definition in the Hebrew or in the Greek, but here we have dun. The noun and adjective forms of dun all relate to color. It probably comes from German roots and may be related to the word dusk, as a dun color has a dull quality that you might associate with dusk or fading light. A dun horse is called a dun. As a verb, the dun means to attempt to collect an overdue bill. Might associate with dusk or fading light. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. So we're going to start with the horse, the pale horse. The book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 2, I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. The book of the prophet Hosea, chapter 12, verse 10, I, Yahweh the Most High Power, have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So when we read pale horse, one of the definitions is dusk or fading light. So through the Spirit and in this context, the pale horse is Esau, Edom, Idumea, in their old age. So there was a season for their youth, there was a season for their adulthood, and now is the season of their old age. Similitudes. One thing being similar to another. Just to make sure we're clear about who we're talking about here. The second book of Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So Yahushua is going to arrive after the working of Satan. Well, the spirit of Satan dwells in the devil, who are the rulers of this last wicked kingdom, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So again, who do we prove are the rulers of this last wicked kingdom? The book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16, behold, I being Yahweh the Most High Power, have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. So again, these are the nuclear physicists and scientists in Mystery Babylon, the so-called United States of America, who came up with the first atom and nuclear bombs. And I, Yahweh the Most High Power, have created the waster to destroy. So the Father has created these what are today thermonuclear warheads and weapons to destroy. But who did he give it to? He gave it to the man, the beast, the dragon. Esau, Edom, Idumea. They were the first ones to have this, so that all things could be fulfilled. The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 13, and he, the man, the beast, the dragon, the fourth horseman, and he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. 2 atomic bombs dropped upon the earth. Verse 4, such that people said this, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? So remember, the man, the beast, the dragon are all one. They are Esau, Edom, Idumea. It's their systems of power and their systems of government, their systems of governing, their systems of power and governing. They're giving permission unto themselves. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? Who is able to make war with him? And they, the other nations upon the earth, worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? This is how much power was given unto the fourth horseman. And they really exercised that power, such that no one would dare stand against them. But the book of the prophet Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. There are times and seasons for all things. The Father changes seasons and times. He appointeth kings. He raises up and he knocks over. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So, there's a vision for an appointed time, and at the end, it will speak. It will speak loud and clear, and it will not lie. And though it may take some time to get here, wait for it. Wait for it. It will occur. So Esau, Edom, Idumea, the so-called white nation upon the earth, were given tremendous power by the Father himself to fulfill upon the blessing that Esau received from his father Isaac. But let's take a good look at where we are today. The Mexican-American War was from 1846 to 1848. After that was the Philippine-American War. That was from 1899 to 1902. These two wars were the last wars that Mystery Babylon, so-called United States of America, won on their own. These are the last two wars that they won on their own. Now, in World War II, they made fire come down from the sky. And until World War III starts, Mystery Babylon and the rulers of this last wicked kingdom have been the only ones to use atomic nuclear power in war. Sure, it's reported that Mystery Babylon won the Gulf War with its allies, but since World War II, it has lost more wars than it has won. It just came out of a 20-year war that cost trillions of dollars, and they were not successful. Why? Because they have completely forgotten the Most High power. The book of the prophet Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So again, living in the best places upon the earth, loves to live in the high rises, but also loves to live in the parliament buildings and the buildings of legislature and the capitol buildings and the castles and the White House. High places. Verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. Okay, so you said you went to the moon, hung out on the moon for a while. You say that you're going to Mars and colonize Mars. Okay. You think you can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it? I'm going to bring you down. Thus saith the Most High. Verse 6, now who's the Father talking to? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? The Father sees all things. He knows all things. He can see into the darkness because the light is with him. Nothing can be hidden from the Father. And the power of the man, the beast, the dragon is fading. It is fading. Where the earth used to tremble, now little old North Korea is not bowing down. Just not. The second book of the prophet Esdras, chapter 11, verse 39. Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts which I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? So again, the Father is in control of all things. These beasts being governments. The Father speaking to the fourth and final beast, saying, didn't I make you so that the end of the wicked come through you? Verse 40, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. So remember, the devil means deceiver. The devil means deceiver. And for so long there has been tremendous deceit upon this earth as to what the actual truth is. Verse 41, for the earth hast thou not judged with truth. Verse 42, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. This is injustice. This is being drunk with power. This is being wholly unrighteous. Verse 43, therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. Verse 44, the highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. There's a season for all things. Esau has been in his youth, in his adulthood, and is now in his old age, in the winter of his kingdom. And the Father is not happy with how things have been with this fourth horseman. Remember, the eagle has been a powerful symbol in the beast system of Esau, Edom, Idumea. The second book of the prophet Esdras, now chapter 12, verse 3. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. So here we have this beast that all nations came to worship because they were like, who can fight against this beast? Because it had been given power by the Father to do that which the Father had appointed it to do for a time. but because of pride took it way too far. But as we keep reading with wisdom and understanding, we see that there is an end. And again, we as the Israelites upon the earth today have no power to bring nuclear warfare upon this earth. We have no power in our hands to do that. It will be the might and the power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. He comes in the name of the Son. This fight, this battle belongs unto our Father, belongs unto our King of Kings and our Lord of Lords, filled with the Spirit of the Father. And for those of you who think that Mystery Babylon is too great and too powerful to ever come down, the book of the prophet Baruch, chapter 3, verse 26, there were the giants, famous from the beginning, that were of so great stature and so expert in war. So there were giants that used to walk upon this earth, and they were huge, massive, and expert in war. Verse 27, those did not Yahweh choose, neither gave he the way of knowledge unto them. So that power, if it's to serve the Father's will, sure. But power without knowledge and wisdom, discernment and understanding, will lead to destruction, utter destruction. So when we read in the second book of Esdras, chapter 12 and 3, that the eagle shall be burnt, and we as the Israelites have no power in our hand to cause that, how shall that occur? The book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, this is the European Union, who more and more Mystery Babylon is abusing and distancing itself from, wanting to go alone, go it alone, with no allies. Remember, the last time Mystery Babylon won a war on its own was 1902. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, Mystery Babylon, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Thermonuclear destruction, as it is written. Why? Verse 17, for the Most High Power hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High Power shall be fulfilled, until this season is over. Until this season is over. Might and strength, they have their purposes to play, but without wisdom you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing without wisdom. Returning to the book of the prophet Obadiah, now verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy, Esau, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him. So Esau had power, but his power is being taken away from him. Power is dwindling. This is Esau in his old age. And so these other families upon the earth, these other nations upon the earth, have waited patiently for this time to come as well. And although those at the height of rulership today really believe that their power continues to stretch across this entire earth, jumping up to verse 2, behold, I being Yahweh the Most High Power, have made thee, Esau, small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. You can't go around just killing and raping and robbing and butchering and think that it's going to last forever with no consequences. Verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? So the Father said, yeah, I'm going to take your wisdom away from you. I'm going to take your power away from you. I'm going to take your understanding away from you. You're going to be groping around at noonday like it was nighttime. You'll have no answers. None. You will not be able to figure out any solution. The book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 7, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Do you have no more wisdom, counsel, power? Power is dwindling. It's dwindling. Verse 8, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. There's an appointed time for all things. There's an appointed time for all things. There's a season for all things. Esau has been in his youth, in his strong adulthood, and now he is in his old age as a ruler, as a power upon this earth. Returning to the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed with him. And hell followed with him. The condition of oppression, fierce oppression. The condition of unrighteousness. The condition of wickedness. The condition for many of utter despair. All these followed where Esau went and where Esau ruled. The book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. Well, if the rulers of this last wicked kingdom are the devil, which means deceivers, and they're filled with the spirit of Satan, which is the adversary and the accuser, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. If you're following behind the rulers of this last wicked kingdom, if you're following their values, their customs, their cultures, their morals, their policies, their politics, if you follow any part of it that goes against the commandments of our Father and the statutes and the laws, which we have to abide by to the best of our abilities while we're here in the last of our last captivity, then you're wicked. If you're following anything that's contrary to the Father, then you're wicked. There are many things you're doing that you're lying to yourself about, which causes you to be wicked. The book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 2. Sirach is also called Ecclesiasticus. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So if your rulers are all about pride and arrogance and haughtiness and wickedness and lies and deceit, then that's what the cities are going to be filled with. Ever since the Renaissance, when Esau, Edom, Idumea came out of the bottomless pit as the dragon and was given a little season longer to rule, be the head nation upon this earth, the water has been destroyed. The air has been destroyed. The food has been destroyed. People's minds are being destroyed. The oceans are destroyed. destroyed. All under the rulership of Esau, Edom, Idumea. The fourth horseman is a nation of people. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 15, as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people. Just want to rip them apart. Can't defend themselves. Don't have the finances to take part in the legal system. Not at the highest levels. Actually, system of power and governing used to destroy those that cannot defend themselves. The book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And power was given unto them, and power was given unto them, over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So again, we talked about how Mystery Babylon has needed allies to go into war. So other Edomite families upon the earth coming together with the rulers of this last wicked kingdom and bringing famine and destruction and the sword to various places upon this earth. And with the beasts of the earth. So even if we begin back at the transatlantic slave trade, they used to throw us overboard to the sharks. And the sharks used to rip us to pieces. Then in slavery, they would use dogs to rip us to pieces. They would even use small children as gator bait, where they would just hang an infant out, have it cry, so that they could catch a big alligator and sell it for shoes and purses and belts. And with the beasts of the earth. So since the time of the Renaissance, we have been in the time of the fourth horseman, Esau in his old age. Using the last bit of the power given unto him. But as we can see, weakening and weakening and weakening, which actually makes the man, the beast, the dragon very dangerous. The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. You know, after the third horseman, the judges of the nation of Israel came and put Esau in the bottomless pit. He realized that, the Father's got power. And he was released for a season longer. And then once this is over, it's over. Verse 13, and when the dragon, remember the man, the beast, the dragon, are all the same. They are Esau, Edom, Idumea. Esau and his kingdom and his systems of power and governance. Power and governance. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. So this is the nation of Israel. This is the nation of Israel who brought forth Yahushai. This is the nation of Israel. And we've been persecuted. Sharks, dogs, gator bait, roaches, rats, drugs, alcohol, tobacco. Verse 17, and the dragon was wroth, mad with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. And that's today. There's 1/3 of the nation of Israel, the men, women, the children, the true believers, the remnant waking up to this truth. And the systems of power and governance are working to make sure that we go back to sleep. And if we're unwilling to go back to sleep to this truth, then they'll make it very uncomfortable to be here. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High Power and have the testimony of Yahushua the Anointed. This is another way to identify the fourth horseman. The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 7. And it was given unto him, the man, the beast, the dragon, to make war with the saints. The saints are the Israelites. The saints are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latins, Hispanics, the so-called Native Americans. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So again, who's the top kingdom upon the earth today? Who's the top kingdom upon the earth today? Who sits in the highest seats of power today? And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So they've got all this power. The devil, which are the rulers of this last wicked kingdom filled with the spirit of Satan, they've got all this power over the whole world meaning time frame, age, span of time, over all nations and families. And what do they do with this power? The second book of the prophet Esdras, chapter 5, verse 7. Now again, this is not hate speech. For the brothers, the modern day prophets, the brothers who are willing to come out and speak this truth, the brothers who are out on the street at camp, the brothers who are giving classes, and the brothers who are online speaking this word in truth and in sincerity, this is the highest form of love we can give you, is to say, thus saith the Most High, as it is written. This is not hate speech. And the Sodomitish sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. So the rulers of this last wicked kingdom have been given power. And with this power, what they have caused is absolute and utter confusion, such that those who practice the abominations of same-sex relations, which are forbidden for the Israelites. Listen, if the other nations want to do that, that's on them. We're talking to the Israelites here. Okay? This is a message to the Israelites. Our Father has given us life through commandments, statutes, and laws. It's in the Old Testament. It's in the New Testament. Don't do it. But the rulers of this last wicked kingdom have set it up so much so that those who practice proudly, they've got pride in it, abominations, they are set and exalted higher, much, much higher than those that follow the natural laws upon this earth. You can hear them all throughout the earth now. It has never been like this before. Now again, this message is just for the Israelites. Verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. Verse 9. And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into its secret chamber. So in many places, things are out of order, completely out of order. And that wild, primal side, that carnal side, is going to outweigh righteousness and spirituality for a lot of people. Watch how much rage erupts in the twos in the year of the six. Watch how much random rage erupts, because people are going to be in touch with their carnal self. There used to be order and a clear distinction and division, but now the bitter is mingling in with the sweet, Just take one basic thing. If you've got male plumbing, you're a male. If you've got female plumbing, you're a female. That's just basic. And now that salt water is mingling in with that, where that's not the truth in this kingdom anymore. It's a basic truth. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into her secret chamber. So if you're not praying for wisdom right now, when they shut channels down, just shut it off. If you don't have the wisdom, how are you going to get this word in you? How are you going to get this spirit in you? How are you going to get this knowledge and understanding in you? Because wit shall hide itself. Verse 10, and shall be sought of many and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth. This is what the rulership of the fourth horseman has brought. Utter confusion. Verse 11, one land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous gone through thee? And it shall say no, because the Father is taking wisdom away, taking power away, giving people over to a reprobate mind. So if you're not praying for wisdom, you'll find yourself out here like an animal, like a pure animal with no way out, because you've been following the rulers. And as the rulers do, so will the people do, bringing you into this condition of hell. Also, for our brothers and sisters who are on the fence, there are those who willingly follow in this last wicked kingdom. And if you haven't made your choice, and if you're not under the protection of the Father, you're going to be in rough shape. You're going to be in bad shape. You're going to be in bad shape. So all this confusion that the fourth horseman has brought upon this earth, where does all this lead? The book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Revelation 20 and 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Verse 14, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Why so harsh? Why so harsh for the first, the second, and the fourth horseman? Why so hard for Esau in his youth, in his adulthood, and in his old age? Why so harsh? The book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Esau has made so many powers. The constellations, the Greek gods and goddesses, just so many powers to bow down to. Completely throwing the words of the Father behind him. You know, he heard all the stories about what the Most High Power did for the nation of Israel, for Abraham and Isaac. Just threw it behind his back. Verse 17, for ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. This is why. Just don't want to repent at all. At all. And as the ruler does, and the king does, so do the servants of that city. So do the servants of that kingdom. Be cautious. Be very cautious. they could probably serve 2 powers a day every day for an entire year and not go through all the powers that they have. We only have one, the one true living Most High power. Who will you call and who will you follow? Esau, Edom, Idumea, the man, the beast, the dragon, the 4th horseman. There's a season for all things, and the Father has spoken clearly about an end to this world meaning time frame, age, span of time. The 2nd book of the prophet Esdras, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, and we as the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latins, Hispanics, the so-called Native Americans are the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. Everything has a season. And everyone gets dealt with. And for what is in our heart, our minds, what comes out of our mouths, and what we do with our hands and our feet, we're going to be judged for. The book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, because the Father changeth the times and the seasons. He appoints times, and he exalts kings, and he also brings kings and kingdoms low. The kingdom is translated from one people, one nation of people, to another. The book of Colossians, chapter 1, verse 12, giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us, the nation of Israel, particularly the 1/3, who were turned unto the Father in truth and in sincerity through the Son, giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, who hath delivered us from the power of darkness. Remember, the Father sees the darkness and is the light. Who hath delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. Kingdom, world without end. The last scripture we're going to in this chapter is the book of the prophet Daniel, chapter 7, verse 23. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So Mystery Babylon, the so-called United States of America, was the only one to rule from the Americas. The only one to rule from the Americas. Verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. So again, we'll just look at something simple as daylight savings and whatever else, changing the times. But it has been given into his hands for a time. When that time is coming to an end. Verse 26, but the judgment shall sit, and they, the Israelites, shall take away his, Esau, Edom, Idumea, the man, the beast, the dragon, shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. Unto the end. There shall be an end. Verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. All praise to the Most High. If you can hear it, you can hear it. If you can't, pray for wisdom. Make no mistake about it. World War III and the nuclear destruction of America are coming. It will coincide exactly with the return of our King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Savior, High Priest and Brother Yahushai. Thus saith Yahweh. Philippians 2, 9 through 11. Wherefore Yahweh also hath highly exalted him, and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahushai every knee shall bow, of things in heaven, and things in earth, and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahushai is Lord, to the glory of Yahweh the Father. As it is written, thus saith Yahweh, and nothing can stop it. This is a final warning, Israel. Shake off this world, remember who you are, and come home. All praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai.